Hey, what's up guys, and welcome to part 31, the final episode of What If Naruto went with Itachi. And I hope you guys enjoy the series. If you haven't yet checked it out, check across the playlist and enjoy for yourself. And yeah, I posted a new episode of Uchiha Naruto the Sage on my second channel, so go ahead and check it out. And after this, I'm gonna be posting What If Naruto was taken by the Raikage. So stay in tune and enjoy. And thank you all for following me on this journey of What If Naruto went with Itachi. And I hope you enjoy the last episode. So for now, let's get straight into it. Start the intro. You can change. You satisfy the rage in me. Take away my pain. You satisfy the rage in me. So last time we left off, Naruto, Sakura, and Sasuke went on a mission. After finishing their mission, Sasuke suddenly saw Naruto coughing as he started to cough violently. Meanwhile, Itachi had went to tell Tsunade everything that he witnessed when he saw Naruto in the bathroom, as Tsunade was waiting for them to arrive. Tsunade then saw Sasuke burst open the door as he said, "Naruto, hospital, now." So yeah, that was basically last part we left off, so let's start this new episode. Sakura looked at Tsunade as she realized that Tsunade stopped trying to heal Naruto, and she saw tears on Tsunade's face as Sakura almost collapsed on the ground. She shook her head as she went back to his stomach area, pumping more and more chakra into him, but she knew that it was helpless. Tsunade walked over to Sakura, expecting her to pull her away, and was prepared for the fight that Sakura would give her. "No, don't you dare do this, Tsunade. I won't give up. I know I can heal him. Just let me try, Tsunade," yelled Sakura as she was struggling to get at Naruto as Tsunade grabbed her and held her in a tight hug, pressing her head into her chest and holding her head there, letting her cry and yell all she wanted. Sakura then went silent as tears streamed out of her eyes as she knew there was nothing she could do to help. Meanwhile, Sasuke was at the door as his hands were shaking and his entire body felt weak as he collapsed near the door. As he shivered, as he remembered the sight of Naruto losing all that blood. The sight of the blood splashing on him and Sakura as they moved their fastest to arrive to Konoha for help. Right now, he hated the sight of blood. He didn't want to see it or smell it. Tears fell down his face as he remembered those few little words that Sakura said on the road. Those words that changed everything for him. His internal system was destroyed. Those words ripped right through him as soon as Sakura said them. But he knew that he will have to tell others about this. So with strength he gathered, he got up and began to walk out of the hospital to the Uchiha district. It took an hour to get there. He was just so tired, and by the time he get there, a lot of people were asking him if he was okay. Not to mention, his right arm was over Shigetsu's shoulder. Shigetsu saw him walking unsteadily, so he helped him as he brought him to the Uchiha district. His mind wandered though as they arrived at the Uchiha district the day he found Shigetsu deep in Orochimaru's base. Flashback. Sasuke was currently in one of Orochimaru's bases as he looked around, as he looked carefully to not get caught in any booby trap. Sasuke cut the lines to trap and disable them as he continued to walk on with his team. They went further down into the base, looking for experiments that need to be destroyed or people that need to be saved. They came to 7 cells, but all of them had to hold their nose as they smelled decayed flesh. As they carried on into the base, as Sasuke had to disarm the traps, but he accidentally get caught in one as one of his men on his team was killed. They grieve and continue on, being more careful. He finally came to a floor that had a big tube in it and it was full of water. Sasuke walked around and looked at all the different machines as he destroyed 7 of them. He then came to the tube and looked over it. It didn't have anything important in it. It was just water in the glass tube. He turned to walk away from it, then he stopped, hearing a tapping behind him. As he turned to look at the tube, as 2 eyes were staring back at him. "Sakura, do you see what I see?" Sasuke called out. Sakura walked over to him and looked at the tube. Suddenly, a voice came from the tube, surprising the both of them. "Mind letting me out of here," the voice said. "I have been in here since that snake bastard caught me years ago." Sasuke and Sakura looked at each other as Sakura asked, "Should we?" "Yeah, if he attacks for no reason, then we will take him out," said Sasuke. Sakura then grasped her fist as he punched the tube, and soon enough, water was all flowing out. As Sakura blinked as she watched a body form from the water and turn into a human being, as she saw the white-haired boy, and his skin was pale and his teeth were sharp like Zabuza. As Sakura then realized that he was completely naked, as Sakura turned her head as his body started to morph and clothes appeared. "My name is Shigetsu Hojiki. I was one of the trainees for the 7 ninja swordmen of the mist." End of the flashback. Sasuke blinked as he felt Shigetsu shake him slightly as he was brought back to the real world. He then reached out a hand as he knocked on the door twice. Itachi then opened the door as he frowned as he took in his brother's form, and he was splattered in blood. He let them in, and Shigetsu led Sasuke into the living room where he sat him on the couch. Sasuke looked around as he looked for Hana and Kisame. Hana is out shopping and making Kisame carry all of her bags for her. Itachi instantly replied, knowing that Sasuke was looking for them. Sasuke nodded his head as he turned back to his brother. His eyes looked completely serious. "Naruto is in the hospital. He's dying, Itachi," Sasuke said as Itachi for sure felt his world shattered. At the hospital, Itachi was currently in a new room. As Naruto lay on the bed, the last room was so covered in blood it would have taken weeks for them to clean. Naruto was currently lying down with an oxygen mask all over his face and tubes into his arms with blood bag pumping into him. Itachi stared sadly at his adopted brother. The boy looked so weak and pale at the moment, and he knew the reason, and he wished that he wasn't right. But he was right after all. "Naruto, why didn't you ask for help when you could?" Itachi asked as he brushed some of Naruto's hair back. "I wish you had come to me sooner for help. I would have did anything in my power possible." He continued to talk, hoping Naruto could hear him, though he was in a coma-like state. Itachi sighed as he placed his head in his hands. "Why didn't you come to me for help?" Meanwhile, with Sakura, she sighed as she looked at the ceiling. Her eyes were blank of all emotions. She couldn't believe that this was happening again. Hadn't it been enough when she had to hold him in her arms and watch him die? But now she had to watch him die all over again. She didn't want to go through this again, and she hated that this was happening to her team. Why couldn't someone else go through this? As mean as it sounded, why couldn't someone else go through this, losing someone they loved so precious, and she couldn't handle it? Tears ran down her face as she turned her face into the pillow and sobbed helplessly. She never noticed her window open as 2 persons walked into the room. "Sakura, get up. You can save Naruto." When she heard this, her head shot up instantly as she turned to see 2 people that she recognized. From when she was moving around and meeting them, they were Naruto friends. Gaara and Killer Bee stood beside each other as they looked at her. As she looked at their conditions, both of them looked like they were going to die. "You can save Naruto, Sakura, but only if you choose to," said Gaara, as Killer Bee was being unusually quiet. Sakura's eyes narrowed as she looked at them, light slowly creeping back to her eyes as she nodded her head. "Even if it costs me my life," she said. Couple of minutes later, Sakura walked into the room where Naruto was being held. with Killer Bee and Dara behind her. Her eyes glow as she looked at Naruto, as she walked over to him with a big smile, as her hand then started to glow the green color. Now remember, you will have to focus on that demonic chakra that we gave you. If you don't, this isn't going to work, Gaara said, as he walked over to Naruto as well, standing right beside Sakura. She nodded as she focused on that feeling she had when she was at the waterfall village. She could feel it, her hair lengthening, her eyes going slitted, and her fingernails becoming sharp as she went into a bulging demonic form. Once you push all that chakra into its body and imagine all of the organs growing and reforming, you won't have anything left. Your human chakra is connected to the demonic chakra now, and the more you push in, the more you will lose, Killer Bee said, as he watched Sakura push her chakra into Naruto. Sakura was sweating as she pushed more into him, as she was picturing all the organs and them reforming, connecting blood vessels, tendons, muscles, everything. As she was pushing a lot of chakra, she was sweating really hard. She watched as Naruto color returned back as her eyes turned foggy and white. She smiled weakly as she continued to push even more, as her hands start to shake, but she still continued to push more chakra. As her eyes looked down at the floor, she suddenly heard a voice, "Sakura, stop it." As she looked up to see Naruto, his eyes were open and they looked panicked. "No, stop it," he said. "I won't let you die," she whispered. She then bent over and whispered to him with the little strength that she had left. They said, "The chakra they gave me at your first funeral was to use in emergency. And if I really needed to, I could bring someone back alive and reform their organs." As she started to press her hands harder to his stomach, Naruto shook his head as he already knew what was happening, as he wanted to just pass on without any worries. He didn't want her to do this. Naruto watched as Sakura began to become see-through as the wall behind her now visible. "I can't watch you die again, Naruto. I can't live with that," she said. "I'm sorry, Naruto, but you can't die here. You can do so much," she said with a smile. As her face came close to Naruto's, Naruto pulled off the oxygen mask on his face. "We will meet again soon, Naruto," she said, as she went in for the final kiss, as they stared in each other's eyes. Suddenly, Sakura went limp as the glow on her hands disappeared, and her entire body disappeared in sparkling light, as Naruto got out and let out a horrible scream that could be heard all through the village. But guys, this is the end of this episode. Thank you all for following me on this journey, and I hope you enjoyed this series of What If Naruto Went with Itachi. Thank you all for your support and help. And yeah, I'm all for now, guys. Peace.